Phase 1, the gathering. The monolith is ready to begin the wire rod journey. Subscribe, like, and share.
The yard is a masterpiece of logistics. Thousands of tons of iron ore moved with surgical precision. From the operator's seat, you feel the raw power of the machinery. Every scoop is 20 tons of potential. Before the fire, there is only the weight of the earth. We are at the very beginning of a
Precision starts at the very beginning. Quality inspectors verify the mineral content of every load before it enters the processing zone.
The air is thick with the scent of iron. This is the start of the wire rod process, the gathering of the monolith. Conveyor bridges spay the yard like steel arteries, pumping the raw minerals into the factory's heart. Every grain counts. This iron ore is the raw essence of our modern world, harvested from the earth to be reborn in the furnace. From the crane operator's perch, the world is made of weight and logic. This is the first step of the industrial intake. The process begins here, in the shadow of giants. Thousands of tons of iron ore.
There's a lot of earth to move, right? If you want to see us turn this dirt into steel in Phase 2, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share.
Phase 2, the transformation. The fire of the forge begins the wire rod journey. The transition from cold iron ore to white-hot wire rod steel is where the true engineering begins. Movement is slow and deliberate when carrying 100 tons of liquid wire rod steel across the forge. A robotic probe verifies the carbon content of the wire rod steel before the primary pour begins.
Massive electrodes bridge the gap between raw electricity and the molten metal that will soon become wire rods.
You are the conductor of a fire orchestra, managing the flow of liquid wire rod steel with surgical precision.
Every batch of wire rod steel is chemically tested to ensure it meets global engineering standards for strength.
At this heat, the steel for our wire rods is purged of all impurities, leaving only a pure, high-strength liquid. The continuous caster is the steady heartbeat of the factory, turning liquid fire into the solid foundation of a wire rod. Four parallel strands of future wire rod steel emerge from the cooling sprays, moving in perfect mechanical harmony.
It's 3,000 degrees of pure power. If you want to see these billets get stretched into miles of wire rod in phase 3, hit subscribe, like, and share.
Subscribe, like, and share.
Phase 3. The rolling mill begins here. Cold potential meets the reheat furnace, the gateway to becoming a high-strength wire rod. To be rolled, the steel must return to a plastic state. We bring the billets back to 1200 degrees to prepare them for the wire rod mill. Before the first roll, every speck of oxidation must be removed. A clean surface at the start means a perfect wire rod at the end. The roughing mill is where the true force is applied. Massive pressure turns a square billet into the first stage of a circular wire rod.
The steel billet is gone. In its place is a glowing red serpent of metal, a wire rod in its most kinetic and dangerous form.
At these speeds, the friction alone generates intense heat. Every roller is cooled by a constant stream of oil.
In the final block mill, the wire rod is squeezed through 10 successive tungsten carbide rollers, reaching its final diameter with microscopic precision.
Cooling is a science. By controlling the air-to-water ratio on the conveyor, we dictate the final tensile strength of the wire rod. The transformation is nearly complete. The high-speed block mill has finished its work, and the wire rod is now laid onto the cooling beds to find its strength.
We made it from red hot fire to these perfect wire rod coils. If you want to see how we ship these out in phase 4, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share.
Phase 4, the quality and packaging zone. The wire rod has been rolled. Now it must be proven. The transition from kinetic speed to static storage. This is where the wire rod finally finds its shape. Even the texture matters. A smooth finish on the wire rod is the result of perfect temperature control in the preceding phases. Precision is the brand. Every millimeter of the wire rod is checked for surface defects using high-speed eddy current sensors.
These figures are slightly outside the acceptable deviation range.
Rerun the stress test on the secondary sample.
Tensile testing ensures the wire rod can withstand the immense pressure of its future use in suspension bridges or high-tension cables. Security is paramount. These steel bands ensure the wire rod coils stay compressed and safe during global transit.
final logistics. Every wire rod is now a certified asset, ready to become the backbone of new infrastructure.
Perfect quality. To see our final delivery to the customers, make sure to subscribe, like, and share.
Phase 5, the logistics hub begins. The wire rod has been proven. Now it is time to ship.
The first coil of the shipment moves out. This is where the wire rod leaves the factory and enters the global economy.
The forklift is the workhorse of the hub. It carries the weight of the wire rod from the warehouse to the world.
From a bird's-eye view, the port is a masterpiece of efficiency. Thousands of wire rods moving in a synchronized industrial dance.
Protection is paramount. Heavy-duty tarps shield the wire rod from the corrosive sea spray during its time on the deck. The journey is long, but the start is humble. Every wire rod begins its travel at the factory's heavy-duty loading bay. At the rail hub, the scale of the operation is truly revealed. This is where the wire rod meets.
Logistics is the art of the lock. Every wire rod shipment is secured by heavy steel pins and industrial seals for the long haul.
From the crane cabin, the port is a grid of silver circles. Every wire rod must be placed with inch-perfect accuracy. The weight of the world's progress is held in these holds. Thousands of tons of wire rod crossing the deep.
They're on their way. From the mine to the world, our wire rod journey is almost done. Subscribe, like, and share.